get a quick look. Ow. just bonked my head on this fucker.
I did the same thing, man.
How do you tell me you haven't recorded a podcast in over a year by not telling me you've not recorded a podcast in over a year? Ow. That's how.
That's how.
That's how. Fucking bonk, man. It's been a bonkers last few months.
Minute, man.
What caused us to take this long hiatus, my friend?
Well, so I don't think it's been a year. But it has been a very long time. Life happened. Like you had a multi-month long gig editing for a company.
Well, that and my landlord decided he wanted to move back into the house.
Yeah, so we had to close up shop there.
We had to close up shop and say goodbyes, which brings us to our new studio space.
We're in a new studio space.
Yeah, Whiskeylodeon 2.0 for season 3.0.
And not only that, I didn't get a chance to really share this on the podcast before, but we're having a baby. Well, not Sean and I, but Jenny and I are having a baby.
I could have, if you wanted to, I could have acted surprised just now, like this was the first time I've heard of it. Oh my God.
Yeah, we're having a baby girl.
Little baby girl.
And she's due soon. So we knew we wanted to come back. We knew we had to get in several episodes before the baby gets here, because once the baby does, oh boy.
And by the time you hear this episode, that baby's already here. The way that we have structured some of these recordings, I mean, we'll go ahead and be candid with you. We're about to do 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And Ty, I don't feel super confident about this. I don't know how this is going to go. The next 3 episodes are going to take place over the course of this weekend that we're recording.
Yeah.
But when you're hearing this, that baby's probably already going to be like, I don't know.
We'll put a little announcement.
A year old.
We'll do something so that we'll let you know, hey, there's a baby.
There's a baby.
But there's episodes coming.
Yeah. It's all in tandem. It's, the multiverse of Whiskeylodeon podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we do it. What else is new in your life? I mean, that's a lot of big changes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the big changes. Teddy's about to start kindergarten. That's going to be crazy. And I've missed this, and I've missed you.
I know you've missed me. You text me every night before I go to bed.
I know, you're a love nanny.
Well, someone's got to do it, and someone's got to hit the intro button.
My kid is now fast asleep, I can pour myself a glass. But too many shows on Netflix are trash, it makes me wanna pass. I can't figure out what to watch, what am I supposed to do? Let's get drunk and rewatch cartoons when we were little dudes. Whiskeylodeon.
Man, I'm so glad to be back. It's been so long. I've missed you.
I think the last episode we did was Wild Thornberries.
Yeah.
And I needed to listen back to some of it just to get back in the headspace, because it's just been a while since I've had a recorded conversation. And that's not what we're doing, right? It's just a recorded conversation. It's just been so long that I'm like...
It's been that long since we actually had a conversation in person.
Yeah, mostly just over the phone or through MySpace messaging.
Yeah. Like I helped you clean up, pack out, pack in.
Oh yeah, dude, this move would not have happened without you. So that's the whole reason we're here. So thank you, buddy.
Absolutely. Anything for my love nanny.
Oh, yeah. How's the wifey?
She's doing well. She wanted me to let you know that she fucking loves you. So fucking much. Did we ever share that story?
Well, I don't know. You didn't say a whole lot just now, but
okay. So
I'll take a good story.
Last season, my wife, wonderful, smart, hilarious, joined us for an episode where we covered Harriet the Spy. Now, what happened after the podcast, I don't think we've shared. So after the podcast one, we've had a lot to drink already, but you pour us another drink and she takes mine and drinks it too.
How did I miss this?
You were there. I mean, maybe because she also was pinning me against the fridge, trying to make out with me. And you just kind of,
I remember that,
being uncomfortable. You're like, if I'm not a part of this, should I be here? And if you would have asked, she would have made you a part of this too.
I didn't know what to do with my eyes or hands, you know.
Yeah.
What do you do in those situations? I think I poured myself a glass of whiskey for...
Yeah, I think you just hold 2 mugs of whiskey or something.
Yes.
And-
Two handles of Henry McKenna in this
Yes.
side piece, yeah.
And this was our anniversary. So we were going to dinner after that. And she, oh my goodness, she made sure to have fun. And all throughout the night, she was like, I need you to know that I fucking love you. And I love Sean so fucking much. And we ended up taking videos and sending it to you.
Oh, I remember all this.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And I do believe there was a, hey, I think we sent you some videos last night. Would it be okay if you didn't mention that or share that with anyone? And now we're sharing it with
I mean, I think
it's the context that
Yes.
matters, yeah.
it's the context, but it's also the statute of limitations has passed.
Is that, yeah, in podcast law, which, all right, listeners, we took off about 6 to 7 months so we could practice podcast law.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
That is what happened.
Ty's baby is already working on her for
LLC?
LSAT. She's working on her 4-letter degree of becoming an infant lawyer. As far as I'm aware.
Yes, that is what I have been told.
Yeah, and podcast law says if you get drunk while talking about Harriet the Spy, and then within 3 hours later send videos that talk about Love Nanny stuff, you're allowed to talk about it 6 episodes later.
I mean, it was very specific to the
Ty,
law.
we don't make the law. The law
It just is.
just is, and it makes us sometimes. And that's podcast law right there for you.
Yeah, that's very true. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because our audience, they need to know that.
They do. As you take a sip of this purpley little beverage we got in front of us,
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so good.
we so let's talk about this drink.
Okay.
Talk about what it kind of, the transformation it kind of just went through.
So, what I've created is basically a whiskey float. And because Sean is vegan, and we love him for it, not because of it, not despite it, we just love him anyway, I had to make it a sorbet. But because I had to travel here, I had to freeze it. And so I basically made a sorbet whiskey smoothie with 4 different berries and then some blood orange simple syrup. And it was missing something. It should have been soda, but I don't really drink soda. So we ended up adding a whole bunch of stuff. We ended up adding some ginger juice, some extra lemon juice. We added some fresh wild blueberries, which are super small and tiny.
They're little baby
They're
blue
little
bins.
babies.
Baby
They're
blue
blue
bins.
bins.
Yeah. They're baby bubble blue bins.
And then you added something that you're like, we're only adding a little bit because it's too expensive. What did you add?
We added 2 things. There's this I was listening to a podcast and one of their ads got me. Dude, it was the best. I was like, "Oh, I'm getting that." It's this like tonic soda with like made by herbalists called Sunwink. How have they not sponsored us yet? They probably don't know we exist.
Yeah, we need to
until
fix that.
today. And I think we use like one of the berry blends, just a little bit to give a little fizziness.
Yeah.
And the whole profile of that just matched everything that you just talked about.
Right.
And a little bit of jam that I made.
That's right, the strawberry jam.
Yo, I was on the shoot and we were shooting at a strawberry farm in Fort Mill, South Carolina, which is like a 30-minute drive from where we're recording right now. And they gave us each a gallon of strawberries after the shoot.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what a gallon of strawberries looks like, you're not going to be able to finish that on your own without either gifting it, giving it away, or making jam. And I have never done that before. And it was terrifying. But the house smelled so good afterwards, Ty.
It tastes so good too.
And we're like, fuck it, let's throw some jam in this thing. So it's like a little chili beverage.
Yeah.
Which normally would work, but it's kind of fucking cold this week in May in Charlotte.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. We'll get through it.
But yeah, so we made this cocktail and we're calling it the triple goober berry sunrise.
Why are we calling it the triple goober berry sunrise, Ty?
because of the movie we're covering, which features it.
And what movie are we talking about?
The SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
I wasn't sure. I forgot about the SquarePants part.
That's okay. It sounded great.
It did. Beautiful harmony. There's something we have to do before we talk about the movie, though, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
It's a segment we've kind of carried along this whole time from season 1 and season 2, and for the first season 3, we still call this the Teddy Report for babies.
Yo, so Teddy's really excited to be a big brother, and he's already referring to the baby as his baby. We're having a little baby girl. We're naming her Leona Regina, which translates to the Lion Queen. And my wife has a Doppler machine, so she likes to listen to the heartbeat just to make sure everything's okay. And my son walked in and he goes, "Mommy, what are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm listening to your baby sister."
Can you describe what the machine kind of looks like?
So basically you have, it's like a magnifier you put in your stomach so you can listen to the heartbeat. So it's like a stethoscope, but like not medical grade. But just allowed her to listen to the heartbeat.
It's like podcast law grade.
Yeah.
Not quite the real thing,
For sure.
but still effective.
And so my son, I was like, "Oh, what is she saying?" Which is adorable as fuck.
Oh.
But then she's like, "Oh, well, she can't really talk right now." And he pauses and he ponders. He goes, "Huh. So she can't say fuck, can she?"
No.
He said that. He said that. And we're like, no, she cannot.
And to go back to our point from before, little son, nor should you. That is, God, that's so on brand for the kid.
Yeah, that is very on brand.
How's that book coming?
We've gotten the second draft already completed. We are now working on the third, just as a rewrite. But we are looking at... We're kind of weighing the pros and cons between self-publishing or actually finding an agent to get more eyes on it, because we think it's fucking hilarious. But yeah, we've already gotten it down to our second rewrite, and it's looking pretty good.
And like the truth that goes, like, there's not going to be any stretching of the truth in that book. It's just going to be exactly like it could be a biopic if you want it to be.
It could
honestly.
have been,
yeah. How have you not sponsored us? We don't say what the fuck book.
Oh, I need to fix that.
Yeah. Can you can there be a spiral of sponsorships?
Possibly.
Wow. I think that would just be throwing money at a wall and it bounces back at you. Wouldn't do anything.
In the face.
In the face. That's amazing, Ty. That's so as a parent, you have to find this balance of discipline, but also, there are these moments of comedy gold.
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
So it's very much, I have learned that if you make it a big deal, you give them power. And so they're like wanting to see if they can egg you on. So it's very much of like, it's like, well, we don't say that. And they was like, well, she can't say that. I was like, yeah, neither should you. And it's like, but no, I was just saying she can't. Like he almost like is trying to, he doesn't see that he's still saying it. He's just like, well, no, I'm just saying what she can't say. I'm not like saying it myself. And I'm just quoting people.
Yeah, he's if you put it in quotes, it's okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But you gotta cite your sources.
As long as he's like, yeah, I got that from mom and dad. So that's like that's a tightrope, right?
Yeah. It's very much a tightrope. Because on one end, you're also like, you're trying really hard not to laugh because it's fucking hilarious.
It's very funny. I mean, it's objectively very, very funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a parent, and if I were a witness, like if I were there, I would be taking back like weeks of however you have tried to teach your child something.
Yeah.
I would give him that power. I would be the one who's like laughing and cackling, and he would say, "Oh, you know what? Uncle Sean said it was cool."
Uncle Sean thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, and then he and I would have a beer together, because that's what uncles do, I guess.
we're gonna add an extra Teddy report just because you remind me of this. We ended up going to New Orleans for a week, and that was a lot of fun. And I got to pick all the restaurants, but Jenny picked all the activities because we had Teddy. And she was like, it's gonna be really hard once we have another kid. Like, what are we gonna do? I was like, well, I mean, we can find someone to watch them. I mean, you have your friend. I am going to recreate her name, so it's just Lori. Her friend Lori can watch them. And she was like, that if we left our kid with her, she's basically going to have him come back to us like drinking and smoking weed. And I'm like, he might be really cool to hang out with after that. And
you make a good point. you're like, and your point is...
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Well, he'd be going by like... Because does he go by Teddy?
Yeah.
He'd be going by like T. Just T.
T Diddy.
T Diddy? You're going to say that next when you get home next.
Yeah. Hey, T Diddy.
He's going to be so confused. He's going to say, what the fuck? Literally. Yeah, so... Yeah, your kid's awesome, dude. We've had these Teddy reports time and time again, and I think early on, it's like you got some feedback about how you talked about Teddy.
Yeah, I've had some people say like, "Wow, you're a dick to him," and he's a dick too. So like, I don't think it's like unfair, but I still love him.
Yeah, he's your spawn. Is that fair to say? Is that what people say? Spawn baby?
If they're trying to say that they're a spawn of Satan. But he's my
listen,
purebred.
Satan was misunderstood, and if I just now compared you to Satan, take it as a compliment.
I'm misunderstood.
Oh, baby. I'm excited. I'm excited we're doing this.
Me too. It's
been a
long
minute.
time coming.
Yeah, and tell me about your experience growing up with the Spongebob Squarepants show.
At the time SpongeBob came out, I was kind of moving past the goofy, almost like childish type of humor. And so I kind of didn't watch it unless it was just in the random, hey, I'm watching my little cousins or whatever, and it popped up. So I never watched the movies, and I wasn't the biggest fan. But it wasn't until later that I started understanding, like, this actually has some comedy depth to it. Like, if you go past the childishness of it, there's more details to it. And I'm not going to say it's my favorite show ever, but I can appreciate it now. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think this places us in 5th grade, probably, and it was on the kind of the outskirts of growing. I don't want to say growing out of Nickelodeon. That never fully happened, but at least growing into other things in our life.
Yeah, it felt like this should have been on like Nick Jr. and we're like, that's
right.
too much.
I
of a
almost
kid
wish
show
it
for
came
us.
sooner because I think I wasn't as interested. But I think what happened was it kind of became the show that kept me connected to Nickelodeon, even in my adolescent years past my super childhood years.
Yeah.
So it acted as one of those shows that I was like, I probably didn't use the term, it's Nickelodeon still got it, but it felt kind of like that. And to your point, like it was this like really goofy fucking show. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of comparisons I think you could make to like Ren and Stimpy with some of like the macro shots when you get like hyper realistic look. So there's a lot of that. But there's also a lot of adult humor in it that's kind of tucked away. And I think when we talk about this movie, we'll get there. But for me, it was just one of those shows that, like you, it wasn't my favorite show, but I appreciated a lot of elements of it, and especially Patrick.
Yeah.
That is like one of my favorite characters in Nickelodeon, coming from not one of my favorite shows. So I think there's a lot to take away from it, even if it's not something that you lived through a lot.
Why was Patrick your favorite character?
His naivete bag. He's always present first of all.
Yeah.
He's always exactly where he needs to be. And he's so earnest and honest and wants to do the right thing in every situation, even though sometimes he's just so dumb. He's sometimes just a dum-dum. And his voice, I mean, who voices Patrick Star? I can't remember their name.
All right, that is Bill Fagerbach.
Okay. Yeah, Bill kind of makes the show for me.
Okay.
I don't know. Every time he's on screen, I mean, he's the comedy relief, right?
Yeah, I mean, because you also have Tom Kenny and SpongeBob. And
He's fantastic.
yeah. So I'm kind of curious because I don't have as much love for Patrick, but like if we go outside of Nickelodeon and the Cartoon Network, Ed, and Eddie, I fucking love Ed, and he kind of fills that same role.
Sure.
So I could see where that's that love, and I'm like, huh, okay.
I think it's because it's a character voice that should get annoying over time, but absolutely doesn't for me. Like I could listen to Patrick Star laugh or talk all day, and I'm not going to get tired of it. And then, you know, he's well written as far as like some of the lines that he says in this movie, especially just when I laugh out loud when I'm by myself, that's how I know it's really funny. I'm like, this isn't a performance. I'm fucking cackling audibly. And a lot of that happens in those moments where Patrick's involved.
Okay.
And that's not to take away from anything else. It's just, I think he is this weird comedy tether that keeps the show kind of on a heartbeat.
That's fair. I can respect that.
It's funny too, because if you've seen our promo photos now and our trailer, like you dressed as Patrick.
I did. And I feel like I fucking looked great. You look great too.
No, thank you. You had a suit that had this lovely salmon color to it. This, you know, purple and green accents like Patrick's shorts.
Yeah.
But I looked like an underwater banana, man.
Sexy banana.
Thank you, but I don't know. Luckily, we returned those suits immediately after the shoot.
Yeah.
Because I don't see myself walking around in a yellow suit.
I might have to go back for that pink. I felt like I looked good in that.
You did. I was kind of hoping, because I returned those suits for both of us, and I was kind of hoping there was going to be a moment where you hand that suit off to me, and you're handing it to me, and then you kind of just hold it for a second, and I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, you don't say anything. You just make fierce eye contact, and at this point, your muscles are flexed. Your veins are popping out in your face. And I'm like, Ty, hand over the suit. And then a lone tear falls. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then you finally let go. And then I don't hear from you for like a week straight. and in my head, I'm like, what did I do wrong? And then, you know, eventually I take it back. And as I take it back, I feel my phone ring, and it's you on the other end of the phone, and you say, "Is it done?" And I'm confused now. I'm like, what do you mean, is it done? Are you doing a movie bit? And you're like, yeah, this whole thing's been a movie bit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then you're like, did you return the suit that I looked really good in? And I'm like, oh, that's what you're talking about. And it goes through this whole spiral. We're on the phone. I'm at Whole Foods, just on the phone with you. So confused. So very confused. And then a tear falls through the phone.
Just tell me when it's done.
Yeah. So that's what I thought was going to happen.
That should have happened.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah. But you look great in the suit. That's all that matters.
Aw.
Yeah.
And I think you looked good in the suit too.
You just got a very inside glimpse of how my brain works. When I told that story, you looked so confused.
I was like, where's he going with this?
Oh, I don't ever have a destination. That's the thing about podcasting for me, is I don't know what I'm going to say microwave.
Well, thank you for taking the suit and letting me know that it was done. Because it took a while, like, hey, you sent me just one QR code. I need two.
Oh.
I was like, all right, here's the other one. Like, no, it's the same one. I'm like, oh, it didn't upload when I took the picture, screenshot.
Well, Ty, you have two phones, one for work and one for drugs, or one for life, whatever, fucking, I don't know. And you used your drug phone for texting the QR code, and I blame that. It's so funny when Ty will text me from, so I have him saved in two contacts. So Ty Longworth is his Android. Typhone Longworth is his Typhone, right?
Yeah.
And he'll text me from Typhone and say, I need to text you from my other phone. And it's almost as if it's like this warning, like, brace yourself.
Well, because Sean has an iPhone, and last time I texted him, he goes, "You have an iPhone. How dare you? You came at me sideways. You taught me this. I learned it from you."
I will always come at you sideways. Well, I think it's time to go ahead and just talk about this fucking movie,
man. Yeah. So, first off, overall, what'd you feel about it?
Okay. The first 15 minutes, I'll be honest, did not have me. I thought it was
the whole pirate thing was like,
well, I was like, okay, whatever. But after that, I was good with it. Like, there were parts that were, I was like, all I want out of this is to be entertained. And this came out in 2004.
Yeah.
Can I still laugh about it almost 20 years later? And I did. And I was perfectly fine with it. Was it a great movie? No. Was it fine? Yeah. It was perfectly fine. It was a fun ride. Very predictable beats, but that's to be expected. But also a lot of fun humor that I think I wouldn't have appreciated at the time when I was a kid.
I can agree with that.
How about you?
That first 15 minutes where they had the pirates coming in, I was kind of like, what is this? It just felt out of place to me. But once we got into the actual story, I was like, okay, I'm back on the ride. This is fun. This is a lot more entertaining than I wanted to give it credit for.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because it was a bold choice, I guess. I don't know. I think they were like, hey, remember like the pirate who sings the song in the beginning? All right, hear me out. We put him on a fucking boat and we shoot this shit with 20 pirates, maybe 50. And then they go to the movie theater. So I don't know. I wasn't sold at first, but also I wasn't paying that much attention because it was midnight. And I was like, why am I watching this movie this late?
Well, you had some stuff on your plate, so I understand why you procrastinated. But we got some breakdowns and fun facts. So really, my breakdown is that this was written and directed by the creator of SpongeBob, Steven Hillenburg.
I heard this was written by the creator, SpongeBob. Like SpongeBob created himself.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had a pencil. He did it before.
Well, I mean, the brain named itself. Why can't the SpongeBob write itself?
Exactly. But fun facts. So, this was the final Nickelodeon animated movie that was released on VHS.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Why do I feel like... I don't know. I guess I live in this world where I feel like every movie we talk about is the last VHS movie.
This is the first time I remember talking about VHS.
No, I believe you. I'm just saying, I think it's possible there's a parallel universe where...
I mean, there's several, like, this was the final live-action VHS. This is the final...
Okay.
Yeah, there's a way to break it down.
This is the last one, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Scarlett Johansson, who voices one of the characters, Princess Mindy, this is her first animated or like voiceover work that she's done.
Okay, yeah. When I was watching through, I was like, "Where? I can't place this voice. Who is this?" And then you look it up, and then you hear it, and you can't unhear it.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
And on top of that, turns out she was such a huge fan of Rocko's Modern Life. And then a lot of the crew on this movie also worked on the show. So she was just in heaven, like wanting to talk to all the crew members about the show.
Oh, she keeps getting cooler.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Scarlett Johansson, if you want to come on the show and talk about Rocko's Modern Life, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about the episodes we already covered, too.
For sure. Other than that, we also had special voice acting from both Alec Baldwin and, well, this wasn't really I'll go back. And Jeffrey Tambor, both who played Dennis and King Neptune. And then we also had David Hasselhoff makes an appearance.
Who did he play in this movie?
Himself.
Yes, he did.
And it's actually kind of funny because both Alec Baldwin and David Hasselhoff took the role because their kids loved the show.
That's not the first time that's happened in Hollywood.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And I appreciate that fact because we would not have gotten Aragorn from Lord of the Rings.
This is true. And then we also, later on we'll talk about, we have Victor, the owner of the Thug Tug.
Thug Tug?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what is that?
Well, when they're trying to cross over to Shell City, they got to go past like a bunch of the biker gang. Yeah, it was called the Thug Tug.
Was it really?
Yes.
Okay.
And the owner of that is actually voiced by Biff.
From Back to the Future?
Yes. Voiced by, I think his name was Thomas Wilson.
I'm kind of hung up on the Thug Tug. That's a sentence to think about.
I can't believe you missed that. It was literally on the boat that they were in. The Thug Tug.
I may have had that on in the background, that scene while I was setting up for the podcast.
Touche.
And I had to do some stretches like you had to do earlier too, because I was asleep. I was so sleepy. So
Yeah.
I think I missed the opening. Oh, Thug Tug. That's amazing.
So we do cut open to pirates, and they're sitting like, there's a crew member coming. He's found it. There's a huge treasure chest, and it has tickets to the SpongeBob movie.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
that was. You know what? I don't mind, because I think meta has become so aware or so present these days.
Maybe at the time.
I know, maybe we're just fatigued from that
Maybe.
we're judging it through the lens of our kind of present day.
That's very
So that might have
possible. I can
been
give
that might have been funny at the time. I'll give him that.
We'll give them that.
Yeah.
But then you get like this pirate acapella version of the intro as they make their way.
It was good. I'm gonna be honest. It was really like, it was nice. It was a nice.
It was pleasant.
Yeah, it was a little reprise.
Yeah. And then like they end up going to the movie theaters that is on the coast, which I kind of want to do. I want to go to a movie theater just right on the coast. You can get off the boat and go see a movie.
You just pull up to the dock and then you're there.
Yes.
Ah.
And that's when we start.
But you can't call it popcorn. You gotta call it dock corn.
Absolutely. And you got to like season it with like sea salt.
Oh, we're doing this. Listen, everyone, this is the end of the podcast forever, because we're going into the Oceanside movie business now.
Yes.
It's been so fun doing this with you.
We have a calling.
We have a calling. So bye. I guess we can finish the episode then.
All
if
right.
we must. Yeah, they pull up, they sit in the theater, they just bust through the whole fucker, right?
Yeah, they're going getting their own popcorn. They're terrorizing. So how they got to stay?
Yeah, they have 2 employees there.
I thought it was 3, but yeah.
Oh, the third one definitely got trampled.
Oh, that's what it was.
Had to have been. Yeah. So they get into the theater. We're watching, if we're in the theater in 2004, we're watching them watch a movie open up.
Yeah.
Which opens up on
SpongeBob, where he is sitting there. Actually, it's not. So basically, what it opens up to is you have all of Bikini Bottom in a panic. Like, Mr. Krabs is freaking the fuck out. Like, what's going on? I was like, I gotta wait for my manager to get here. And then in comes.
I know, I was so confused. I was like, what did I miss?
I also felt that way. But then.
Because it wasn't, I guess the one disclaimer is like, you can watch this at any point and you don't really need context. All you need to know is that the Krusty Krab is owned by Mr. Krabs, and his employees are Squidward and SpongeBob, and SpongeBob's best friend is Patrick.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's really it.
Pretty much it.
But we find out that in this situation, SpongeBob is the manager, and he is like cool as fucking this.
Oh yeah.
He's sitting there, is like, give me the lowdown. Customer had a burger. They ordered a cheeseburger, but it had no cheese. Which, of course, is
So
just
dramatic.
a classic over-dramatizing. But then SpongeBob comes in, and he goes, I need you to talk to me. What's going on? You got a family? And
Tell me about your family.
Yeah. He's literally, you hear like a ticking of a bomb almost. And he's sitting there talking, like, keep focusing on me. Don't lose it. Come on. I need you to focus.
He's diffusing the situation.
And he slowly pulls out like a bunch of tools. He's slowly inserting a cheese onto the burger.
Don't love the verb you used, but keep going.
You're welcome. And finally it turns out like, oh no, did it? Oh, he's got cheese on his cheeseburger. And
Yeah, and everything's right in
Yes.
the world. Yeah, his toolkit, like when he opened up that briefcase, I didn't know what was going to happen. Like I was like, oh, Nickelodeon is going to go there. And then the cheese comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what? He saves the day.
He saves the day. Everyone's cheering for him. And then as they're doing hip hip hooray, it's like hip hip.
Right. We hear that a few more times.
And it turns out, no, that's his alarm clock.
I know.
It was all a dream.
I think that's when I turned it off because last night that was so loud, and I was like, I don't want to wake up my roommate. And it went like four or five times.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get it. And I was like, well, this is his alarm clock. Perfect time to go to bed.
Yes.
As we do with our alarm clocks anyway, right? I hit the snooze button on that.
Yes. That's a mandatory. It's like, okay, hold on. I just need a little bit more time. Oh, give me strength.
What would the world be like if we all were immune? Like we didn't hit the snooze button. Like we woke up on the first, whatever that horn was. What would happen?
I don't know. Like, I don't know how farmers do it.
No, you do. I've seen your profile back in the day on farmersonly.com. That's how we met.
I mean, it's how we met, but even still, I didn't wake up at the first crow's call. It was...
Yeah, it was
or
a rooster.
Rooster's call. It was just, shut up. And I don't know. I like to sleep. I'm not a morning person.
Wait, you woke up to someone saying shut up to you?
No, I said shut up to the rooster.
I was picturing someone just standing in your doorway yelling shut up, and that's how you woke up.
Oh, Teddy's done that. We're not even talking to him. And he goes, don't talk to me. Bruh, we weren't even.
Yeah, we fucking weren't. And then you're like, fuck, I said fuck.
Fuck.
And then you get to bring that to the next podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, that horn goes off, right? And of course, it's a dream.
Yeah. But he's waking up. Today is the opening of the Krusty Krab 2. And he is for sure certain he's going to get the manager position because he has been the employee of the month for a very long time.
So much to the fact that it is the most hubris I have seen from SpongeBob, I think, in the show.
Yeah.
Where it just cuts to in his bedroom, one of his walls is just plastered in photos of him with Employee of the Month underneath it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, SpongeBob. You sure do love you some SpongeBob.
Yeah, he does. He's very proud of himself for what he's done. And you know what? Fine. He can be proud of himself. He's worked hard.
Kind of feel bad for Squidward because if you're not the Employee of the Month, you're the other employee.
Yeah.
But
also Squidward doesn't care.
Right. And that is a very good point because if there's this rivalry, I think it's a different show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a different show anyway because like at this time, as SpongeBob is going out to go to work and be excited, you see Squidward taking a shower. He's just having a good time. And then like SpongeBob ends up being in there, helping him out. I was like, yeah, if I'm going to be your manager, let me help you shower. It's like, no, get out.
Boundaries.
Unpopular
opinion.
Okay.
I kind of appreciate Squidward.
That's a fair. I don't think that's a hot take.
I don't think so either. I think when we were kids, it was like he's this kind of just, I don't want to be around this guy. I'm not saying I want to be around Squidward, but he makes some very good points. And a lot of the time, he's kind of right.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have examples for you? Can I cite my work? No, I cannot.
But if you do your own research,
you can too. So what happens after Squidward kicks SpongeBob out of his shower?
So we cut to where the opening of the Krusty Krab 2 is going to be, and it's just next door.
And it's a brilliant. Oh no!
It's a brilliant.
It has begun. it's a great shot.
Drink
right?
your whiskey.
Yeah. Oh, I am, Ty. I can see the blue bins at the bottom already, and they taste so fucking good after being soaked in this.
Yeah, I made that with the coconut milk and agave.
Oh yeah, it's lovely. It's brilliant. I said it, and that word describes the shot that happened here because it kind of just shows the first Krusty Krab pulls back.
There's the other one.
10 feet away, and it's good commentary. Honestly, it's good commentary. Like
I feel like they called out Subway before Subway got called out.
They were the OG Subway whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was amazing that they just named it Krusty Krab 2.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. That might have been, Ty, the moment in the movie where I was like, okay, I think I see what's happening here, and I'm in. It took up until that point, I think.
That's probably about the point I got pulled into.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Krabs, of course, is making his big announcement. He goes, all right, and now I got to call my new manager. It starts with an S. He's been super loyal. He's been great. And SpongeBob is in the crowd, super stoked. He's screaming. He's hollering, hooting. And it goes, Squidward. And, of course, SpongeBob's like, yes. And he's going up. And SpongeBob's making a speech. And Mr. Krabs like, hey, no, hold on. And SpongeBob is repeating everything that Mr. Krabs is telling him over the intercom. And that's when he finds out that he didn't get the job.
He didn't get the job.
He's just too much of a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, SpongeBob, that's probably the most depressed I've ever seen SpongeBob.
Talk about what happens here directly following the sequence.
So, as he's leaving all depressed and dejected, you get Patrick storming the castle. He is parachuting in.
And to backtrack real quick, Patrick does leave one hint. He says, hey, at your ceremony, I'm going to have a great surprise for you. Remember, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. So he sets that up, and then what we just talked about happens.
Yeah.
And then
he's parachuting. He ends up crashing the stage and causing it to go up in flames. And he goes, SpongeBob? Like he wanted to celebrate with his best friend. And so
it was so genuine.
It was.
It was another Patrick
He's a
moment.
good friend.
Yeah.
He's a great friend.
I'm telling you, every time we talk about him during this podcast episode, I'm going to dote on him.
As you should. That's fair. And so as we go, cut to SpongeBob, he is at the Goofy Goober, which is the ice cream parlor that he and Patrick were going to celebrate at once he got the position, but he's at the nut bar and he just wanted to be alone.
Oh, great shot. Because everyone's watching the most terrifying looking underwater bunny perform
it's
Goofy
like Chuck
Goofy
E. Cheese
Goober.
when it has animatronics,
Yeah.
and it's
They tapped
terrifying.
into that. Yeah, they tapped into that hardcore. But we pan over and we see a sign that just says Nut Bar. And I think I'm drinking at this point. I have no idea. And I probably spit out my blue bins at that point. And he's just by himself at this bar.
Yeah, not even ordering anything.
Yeah.
And then Patrick comes in and he goes, hey, I thought we were going to celebrate because I didn't get the job. And so Patrick ends up ordering a triple Gooba Berry Sunrise. And that immediately gets SpongeBob's attention. She goes, can I have one? Of course, they order shot after shot after shot. I mean, ice cream after ice cream after ice cream to the point that
shot after
They
ice cream.
look like they're drunk.
Oh, they got hammered.
They got hammered
We
off
know
this
what
ice cream.
happened. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the point that they're like singing karaoke. They close the bar down. By the time like he wakes up, it is 8:00 in the morning. And the guy that was serving that was like, dude, I just want to go home. Can you leave?
Yeah.
That was so relatable.
I felt, oh my God. Well, also the way they were ordering from him.
Yeah.
Mr. Waiter. Oh. The best way to get a drink is to snap at the person serving it to you. Oh, gosh. Yeah. But they woke up hungover and drunk, which is probably a prophecy for this weekend for both of us, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have been consuming some ice cream today, if you will.
We had that's really what inspired that. I was like, hey, I can make a whiskey float.
Yeah. And it made so much it's delightful. But that was one of those, like, you can get away with that. Like, you can get away with shooting the scene or creating the scene where these two characters are just eating a bunch of ice cream. Mm-hmm. And if kids are watching it, they're like, oh, they're just chock full of ice cream. And that's what happens. If you eat too much ice cream, you wake up with a 5 o'clock shadow and
Yeah.
you stay at Chuck E. Cheese. And that's just kind of how that works. But yeah, that was another moment that I was just like, I'm in.
Yeah, I was in for that.
Yeah.
I was totally in. And at that point, he's like, oh no, I have to work. He goes, ugh, work.
Yeah,
And he decides
that brings
he's not
us
gonna
to
go
our
into
next
work.
sequence.
Yep. We are now at the Krusty Krab. Actually, no, we are a little early for that, we're going to cut to Plankton.
Oh, that little fucker.
Yes. So at this point, especially during the commencing ceremony of the Krusty Krab 2, Plankton is just miserable. He goes, no one's coming to the chum bucket. No one cares about me. I failed 25 times. Like, I had plans from A to Y trying to figure out how to steal the secret recipe. And at that point, his robot Carol's like, aren't there 26 letters? Are you forgetting Z? He goes, what? Yeah, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. Ding dong. And of course, he scrambles through and he finds Plan Z. And he starts to enact that. So we needed to cover that.
Plankton, I just want to say, Plankton is not shit without Karen.
No, he's not. He's totally incompetent without Karen.
Was there something behind the A to Y other than the obvious joke that, there's one more letter?
No, it was just I had 26 plans and they've all failed.
Or was it like aye, Captain? Was that supposed to be like AY and it's like AYE?
I don't think that is supposed to be
Am I
an
overthinking
Easter egg. Maybe.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're allowed to do that.
You know what? No, I think that was on purpose.
Oh.
Yeah.
Validation.
They had an eye. They had a pirates. They're like, "Arr, aye," and they're like, "Hey, there's actually Z. Eyes."
Validation. That is actually our very first sponsor. They've always sponsored this podcast.
Validation.
Try it someday. Try it every day.
Be the person you wish you would have had all that time ago.
Oh, God damn. That is that's a goddamn shovel of wisdom right there. I'll take that any day. Oh.
I'll take it
Let's
every
go
day.
Let's go start our fucking movie business on the beach. This movie kind of, maybe this is the part where things really start to happen, right?
Yes. Because not only do we have that, we also cut to King Neptune. Or King Neptune, sorry.
King Neptune.
King Nicktoon.
I like Neptune better, but hey.
Okay, Neptune, yes.
Yeah.
So at that point, we realize, hey, here's this king of the underworld, the water world, whatever you want to call it.
Yes,
and he is literally putting someone on trial. He goes, "You have touched the crown, and you should be punished. Do anything to save for yourself." He goes, "I'm the royal crown buffer."
He's like, my guy. I'm the dude who buffs your crown.
That's my job. And
remember when you hired me? Did you look over the paperwork?
Job description?
Yeah, we talked about this. Mm-hmm. Maybe don't do any murder on me if you don't mind.
Yes.
But he's not having any of that. He's gonna murder
the Royal
us.
Crown Polisher. There we go. So he's supposed to be getting 20 years in prison.
We'll call him the RCP.
Yes. And of course, that's when we're introduced to King Neptune's daughter, Princess Mindy. Of course, voiced by Scarlett Johansson. And so she goes, "Daddy, this is his job. You're being overdramatic. Sir, you can go." And that's not how she sounds. I'm just doing
I was going to correct you, but you did it first. Yeah. Daddy, you're being such a dick. Listen, Mr. Man, you polish his crown all you want. You can go. That was actually tied just now. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was
You're
really
going to have
good.
to trust us on this. You can't see us yet. We don't have the funding to do video, so.
But one day.
So that was definitely tie, though.
We'll go with that.
Remember when you said that?
Yeah, I do remember when I said that.
Yeah, we validate.
I'll say it again.
We validate and we brainwash here. It's our brand.
So at that point, King Neptune's like, "Yo, I need a moment with you, daughter. You need to understand the importance of the crown. It represents all that is my power." She goes, "Don't you just wear it because it hides your bald spot?" And he is super, and what's the word I'm looking for? Insecure about his bald spot. I was like, no, it's just thinning. There's nothing there. It is bright. It is reflective. It could bounce back the sun.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm self-conscious about my hair sometimes.
Me too. I got a bald spot on top.
Same. But I know what's coming. My dad has a goddamn helicopter landing pad on the top of his dome.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, that's
your fate.
Yeah, well, if you put our baby photos back to back, you can't tell who's who. So I'm like, yeah, that's my destiny, my bald spot destiny. So, I mean, I get it. Listen, King Neptune, you got bald spots.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
Let it be a part of you.
The underwater creatures love bald spots.
They do.
Yeah.
They like to look at themselves.
Yeah, but he's not having any of that though.
No. And so we cut to the next day, and that way we cut to the Krusty Krab too. Patrick, sorry, let me get back in the microphone. SpongeBob is not at work. He's like, no, I ain't coming into work like that. But Mr. Krabs is accused of stealing the crown.
Kind of a little brilliant little plan.
And he goes, well, you made a fatal mistake when you left me this letter admitting that you did it. And before Mr. Krabs could even say, it's like, why would I do that? He gets a call that goes to voice message, and it's just a guy who's like, hey, Mr. Krabs, I just want to say thank you for selling me the crown of King Neptune. I've already sold it to a guy in Shell City, so thank you for selling me the king's crown.
Super detail,
Yes.
right? He's just
At this point, it's like, unless
downs.
you're questioning, I was like, that's sus. That's sus. No, that Mr. Krabs couldn't say anything after that. He goes, I've just been like, I couldn't deny anymore because someone else has already accused me of doing it.
I've been duped.
Yeah. And before he is executed, SpongeBob is, well, of course, he's like, does anyone have anything nice to say? And SpongeBob comes in, goes, oh, this kid loves me. No, this kid is fucking pissed.
And he's hammered and he's hungover. And you don't really want to, like, play with anyone's emotions in that state.
No. What did he say to King Neptune? What did he lay into Mr. Krabs about?
I don't know. He basically, King Neptune was trying to allow Mr. Krabs to have a platform to say, hey, I can get someone to vouch for me. SpongeBob just does the opposite. He's like, no, this guy basically wants money and he doesn't respect me. And that's, I don't fucking know what he said, Ty. I've had whiskey.
You have. So I actually wanted you to say that because I was drinking whiskey.
But
this
you know what he
point-
said?
What?
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh.
He basically is like, I worked for you for so many years. I was your best employee, and you didn't give me the job? You didn't give me the promotion?
Well, now I feel like the worst employee of this podcast for not remembering the thing that the best worst employee said.
Yeah.
Wow.
And at this point, that's what's like, all right, well, that seals the deal. You're going to die. And that snaps SpongeBob out of his haze, out of his stupor, out of his drunkenness.
It allows him to tap into his...
It clears his hangover.
Yeah, I mean, because he's at his core, at his super yellow, spongy core, a good guy.
Yeah.
Who wants to do right by
And
anyone.
at this point, he personally thinks that like King Neptune's going to do this because of him, because of what he said. He goes, no. Hey, I was just angry, but like, I'll get your crown. I'll go to Shell City. And he's like, fine, you got 10 days. And Patrick pops up somewhere at that point. I can't remember how he does. But he's like, you can do it in 9. He goes, all right, fine. 8. No, 7. 6. And like just lowering the time and like, Patrick, shut the fuck up.
He does say that.
Yeah, that's literally what he says. And
You're allowed to get one F word in per G-rated movie.
Yes.
Although this was probably PG.
This was PG, so they got to have 1.
You get...
G has 0. PG has 1.
PG.
13 has 2.
Wait. Are we doing a bit?
Yes.
Oh, because you had me going there. Because I was like, hold on. Can you really say fuck one time in a PG movie? Like for a split second, I believed you.
No,
You sold me there.
it's only 13 gets 1.
That was good. That's why we need video equipment here, so you can see that commitment on my friend Ty's face.
Ah, shucks.
Ah, fucks.
Ah, shucks.
This podcast is PG rated, obviously.
But if you're 6, go away. We
Fuck off.
please leave.
Please.
Fuck off, mama.
Oh, I haven't said that in a while. How'd that feel?
I felt dirty.
Really?
I was like, moms, if you're listening to this, listen, enjoy yourselves. Your kids can be awful.
Mama is officially gender neutral right now, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Just fuck off, mama.
Fuck off, mama.
That's like saying, dude, come on, get out of here.
Go fuck
That's like
yourself.
someone's like cut you off. Doesn't matter. You're just like, fuck off, mama.
Yeah, that Exactly.
Yeah. But you say it to yourself, and then you flap those wings and you let that go.
You shake it off.
Yeah.
Thanks, T-Swift.
Thank you. Sponsor us.
So now Patrick and Spud.
That's how the podcast began.
Yes. Little just hit my microphone.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yes.
This is one of 3 of this weekend.
This is one of 3. You ready for this?
No. At no point have I answered that with a confident yes.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun.
We're going to have some fun.
We're going to have some fun.
Well, how about this?
How about this?
What if we take a quick break, tune in with our newest sponsor,
Yes.
and then we'll jump right back into it.
All right.
Are you looking for a gym that feels more like a community? Are you struggling to find the will to work out because it feels like no one is willing to work with you? Or maybe you wish someone would lift you up for a change. Well, stress and wonder no more. Introducing Gym Validation, where we uplift our members as they lift the weight of the world. You'll find that our trainers are more compassionate than at other gyms.
That's it, class. Let's keep lunging into the future you deserve.
And are just as interested in growing your muscles as they are with growing your heart.
That's it. Keep running. Run towards your problems instead of away from them, young Samson.
So, come join us as we lift each other higher.
Come on now. Just 2 more reps. You're way stronger than you give yourself credit for.
We also offer free validation.
Here's my parking ticket. If I could maybe please get that validated, please.
We mean life validation. Listen, you're doing such an amazing job, and we can't wait to see the person you are always meant to be.
But, could maybe I still get my parking ticket validated?
Welcome to Gym Validation.
Yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum whiskey, yum Whiskeylodeon.
All right, so they are now going to Shell City. And at this point, you have Patrick and SpongeBob. They end up grabbing what is effectively a car that is a burger, a cheeseburger. It is a burger car.
Did Good Burger do that at one point?
I thought they also had a burger car.
That's a staple. If you have a Nickelodeon show, at some point your protagonist will drive around
Yeah.
in a burger car.
Very fair.
You can't. It's not Nickelodeon without that.
Yeah. So they go to the city line where they're going to be going across in the Shell City, and they have to get gas. And of course, you get these hillbilly fish laughing and making fun of them. I was like, I bet you can't last 10 seconds across the city line.
2 seconds, actually.
Well, they still survived, but they had their car. Immediately as they came across, their car was stolen.
And then they said, how long was it?
And they were still around. It goes, well, still 12 seconds. They're like, ha, suck it, nerds. We survived.
Basically, yeah. Well, when they pull up to this gas station, the whole joke was like, does your car take ketchup or mustard?
Yeah.
And these guys are actually knee slapping, butt bumping, belly bouncing creatures.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're doing. It was very Ren and Stimpy.
It did feel very Ren and Stimpy.
But the good kind.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, not over seasoned.
Right.
Medium rare, of course. Ty has walked away into the darkness. I think I said medium rare, and, you know, that's usually talking about nipples. And when you talk about medium rare nipples, it can really get you going. And sometimes you just got to walk away from a podcast. And I don't blame the guy. I mean, he's hot and bothered.
Sometimes allergies just leave you congested, and you just
Oh, allergies.
yeah.
That's what I said.
So they finally are going through. They're having to walk. They get to the Thug Tug. This is a biker's bar, and they actually find their car, but the keys aren't there, so they got to sneak in. And it was kind of fun to see SpongeBob and Patrick in a very like rough and tumble. And Patrick's like, all right, I'm going to make it a distraction so you can get the keys. And he goes, hey, everyone look at me. I got to go to the bathroom. Like the weakest sauce distraction. And SpongeBob's like, what are you doing?
Like we talked about, honest.
Honest, yeah. And it's like, what are you doing? That was a terrible distraction. I was like, I really had to go pee. And then they wash their hands because they're good guys. They're good people.
Yeah, SpongeBob's like, you made me get my hands dirty out there for nothing.
Well, wash your hands.
And then he washes his hands. It was so dumb, but it was so fun.
It was so funny. And then they're making bubbles and they're having a baller time.
Clearly, let's do an analogy.
Okay, give me an analogy.
Ice cream is to alcohol as bubbles is to ecstasy. Because this bubble sequence creates a whole, and I say ecstasy, it's kind of I'm using a loose drug here. I'm using ecstasy LSD hybrid. Because we cut to something to where they're just very, very excited and happy, and the visuals get really intense.
Yeah, it's cocaine.
Mm-mm-mm.
I don't know. I don't do drugs.
Well, I haven't tried cocaine.
Okay.
So I was only speaking to the ones that I have.
Fair enough.
And it felt right.
That felt appropriate.
Yeah, so I noticed, I was like, okay, so we're tailoring to agree. Like in 2004, they're like, all right, these kids, they're going to grow up one day. They're going to have a fucking podcast. I want them to know what ice cream and bubbles really are made of. And we found out.
We did. We're drinking it right now.
We're drinking ice cream and LSD?
Yes.
Oh. Cool. Makes sense. That's our next podcast.
But as they're making the bubbles, of course, bubbles get out, and the owner, Victor, is pissed. He was like, we do not have bubbles here. Everyone, line up. Whoever is guilty of making these bubbles isn't a real man, and everyone gets a chance to beat the shit out of you.
And that's a good point, because I think, at this point, they are really... SpongeBob and Patrick are tired of being called kids.
Yeah.
They want to be quote-unquote men.
Yes.
So this almost feels like a challenge to them, right?
Right.
We can't be kids. We need to be men. How we'll be fine. We got this, right?
They think that, but then the test is they play the Goofy Goober song.
Oh, no.
And any kid is just going to just start following along and singing.
Not any kid. Any baby bubble blower?
Yeah.
There was some alliteration there.
Yeah,
you remember
baby
that?
bubble blower.
Yeah. Do we have that correct? I don't know.
You tell us.
You tell us. Correct us.
And at that point, like Patrick and SpongeBob are literally melting, trying to resist the urge to sing.
We're back to that hyper realism animation, which I love.
And it isn't like as they are almost cracking, suddenly a Siamese fish. It's like
it's a two-headed.
It's a two-headed
fish. It's really a two-bodied fish.
Yeah, they're conjoined fish.
There it is.
There it is.
We found it.
We got there. We got there.
Yeah.
And so they start breaking down and they start singing the Goofy Goober song. And that means everyone is just attacking him now. So at that point, they escape. And Patrick, during the squabble, got the keys. He came in clutch.
And I forgot that the key was a spatula.
Yeah.
That's a cool little detail.
For sure.
I think. I don't know.
No, I was like, oh, yeah.
Because they're like, there's the key, and they zoom in, and like, there's a spatula on this dude's hip, and I'm like, I get it, because the car.
It's a burger car.
It's a burger car, so the key is a spatula. Cool. Probably got introduced early in the show.
Right.
But here we are.
So while they're going on to their next challenge, we are introduced to Dennis.
Oh, Dennis.
Yes. Because at that point, Karen's like, hey, SpongeBob and Patrick are going to try and get the crown. Aren't you worried? He goes, nah, I already put something in place. And we are introduced to Dennis, we're
left to believe that he put something in place all on his own.
I mean, it could have been part of his plan Z. Karen didn't suggest it. He already had it in place. So I can give him credit for that.
Okay, we'll go with that.
And Dennis is this rough and tumble biker dude. And when these knee slapping, belly bouncing fish are just trying to make fun of him, he rips their mouths off. Just no questions asked, just boom.
What you just heard was Ty say he rips his mouths off, and I need to make one correction.
Do it.
I'm just kidding. I have no notes. That's exactly what happens.
That's exactly what happened.
He just rips their mouths off of their face.
Yeah.
And it was okay. I was like, yeah, I forgot that this show's allowed to have some hyperviolence, I guess.
Yeah, this hyperviolence doesn't even stop there. He goes to the thug tug, ends up like blowing a bubble just to see, hey, they were here. And it gets called out. It's like, oh, you a baby bubble blow, or you're a baby bubble blower. And he just
Ty, that needs to be our
owner.
metric at like the hour 15 mark of any podcast. I just need to look.
We need to be able to.
We need to be able to look at someone and say, "Hey, B cubed," and that should be the. Do we got this? And if you can still say "baby bubble blower," we'll keep going.
More.
Yeah, exactly.
So at that point, he just socks it, just uppercuts him, and he ends up falling into the thug tug.
Is it B squared or B cubed or tug cubed, tug squared?
Thug tug, which I guess is cube squared, because it's just like literally, hey, I just took out the H and now it's there again. Thug tug.
You said cube squared, and I can't. That just broke my brain. I can't figure that one out. I got to think about that for a while while you continue talking.
While I do that.
Yes.
So the next challenge they got to come across, they are literally walking through what is a littered graveyard of skeletons.
Yes.
And they find a spot for free ice cream. And they basically just made a anglerfish, but instead of having like a light on their tongue is a woman with an ice cream stand trying to offer free ice cream. And of course, like, hey, yeah, I want a free chocolate. And suddenly that's when we see, nope, this is a monster fish. And as they're chasing, they're able to jump out of their burger car, which the fish ends up eating. But then it's eaten by like this giant eel.
Right, because they realize they're at the end of the road.
Yeah.
Not figuratively,
Well, it's
literally.
not, yeah.
They're at the end of...
They're at an edge
and
where
there's
if they're
a
going to
chasm.
cross, they have to cross this chasm filled with monsters and acid and all this stuff.
They fucking bail. This thing goes over. That monster fish, which I might add, that was some nightmare fuel.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
to have a...
This felt like an episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
You know what? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. It was just... I was like, oh my God, there's this terrifying entity on this tongue.
Yeah.
It's hard to write that, you know?
Right. And they were ready to give up because they're like, there's no way we can cross that. We're just kids. And that's when Princess Mindy pops up and goes, hey, I believe in you guys. And she gives them a bag of wind. And she also makes them believe that they're men because she ends up giving them seaweed mustaches.
You know, the best kind.
The best kind. And so they think they're so manly that they don't even take the stairs down the chasm. They just jump off. And they're literally just waltzing and dancing and strutting through all these monsters. And the monsters are like, I'm kind of impressed. We're going to kind of dance and march with you. And so they get to the end. I was like, yeah, these dumb monsters can't eat us. And they're like, oh, man.
They were kind of heartbroken.
They were heartbroken. They did not
that sequence
get
was
the
terrifying
validation.
for a little bit.
Yes.
And then it was like... and then they, you know, luckily made it through the game of the floor is lava.
Right.
But yeah, I kind of felt bad for the monsters.
I did.
I honestly thought they were going to take that slight and go after them.
Yeah.
But then...
Well, I thought they were going to continue with them. They're like, hey, these are now our friends.
Yeah, then that insult happens. And then... But they didn't fight it. I was like, oh, it was like humanity in these things we call monsters.
Yeah.
I'm thinking way too much about it. But
no,
like,
they were literally heartbroken. They're like, we don't even have the will to try and eat you. Like, we thought you were our friend.
Yeah.
And it hurt. It hurts.
Yeah. We're just gonna go back to our floor is lava fucking land.
And then we get caught up. And here we go with a fucking dentist right there. Just like, well, now it's the end of the line because I'm here and I get to kill you. However, No. He doesn't get to kill them however he wants. He is specifically told he's got to kill them by stepping on them. And he's got some needle shoes to step on them with. But then he gets stepped on.
What does he get stepped on? Rather, who, Ty, does he get
This
stepped on?
giant Cyclops, which they were warned about. There's a giant Cyclops, which ends up just being a guy in a submarine suit. But he captures SpongeBob and Patrick. And they are taken to a spot where they are left in a heat lamp. Turns out this guy is just a submariner who collects these animals, dries them the fuck out to make little knickknacks.
What does he make these knickknacks out of? What are his, Ty? What are his two ingredients?
An animal a sea
Three
creature.
ingredients, I guess.
A sea creature, and then sometimes they're doing stuff like playing in a mariachi band.
Glue and
Oh,
googly eyes.
eyes. That's right. Yes. Thank you.
Gloogly eyes, if you just want to make it all one
Gloogly
thing.
So at that point, they're under a heat lamp, and they are like, man, we even found the crown of Neptune, and this is the end.
It's kind of cool, too. We've seen this in the TV show itself.
Mm-hmm.
The live-action hybrid animation. Which, man, as a kid, I thought that was the coolest thing. I hadn't really seen a lot of that, if any. So
I mean, you had like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
absolutely. Or Cool World, if
Yeah.
you've seen that. So it definitely existed,
For
but
sure.
there wasn't a ton of it.
Right.
So SpongeBob, I think, was a cool vessel to do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
But I think they, even though we talked about that opening sequence with the pirates feeling off, that wasn't because it was live action. That was more like a beat by beat kind of situation.
Right.
So it's like this was a moment that I was like, yeah, this makes sense in the universe of fucking Krusty Bottom? No.
Bikini Bottom.
Speaking of bottoms,
The Krusty Bottom. Oh my gosh, dude,
do you remember?
that is such a great insult to get us to. I was like, I ain't dating your Krusty Bottom ass.
I don't think you need to say ass. But that actually reminded me of a really funny moment where they're right before they are greeted by the princess.
Right.
Patrick's pants are all the way down, and he's tripping over himself. They've given up, right?
Yeah.
Over this chasm, and she comes up, and his line of dialogue is perfect, and he pulls his pants up really quickly, and goes, "Did you see my underwear?" And she says, "No, Patrick." Beat. Oh, okay. Did you want to?
Because he's spent with the princess.
Oh, big time. Big time. I definitely support both of them. What do you say? Ship. I ship them.
You ship them.
I don't feel right saying that. Although in a SpongeBob episode, I ship them makes a lot of sense.
For sure.
We just lost all of our Gen Z listeners. Did we have any?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll check the metrics later.
We'll check the stats.
Yeah. So, but beyond that, yeah.
So they are now drying the fuck out. And they were like, we came so far, even as kids. And they're kind of proud of themselves. Like, we know this is the end, but we came so damn far. So at that point, they are screaming, I'm a goofy goober, you're a goofy goober. And they both shed a tear that just coalesces at the bottom into a heart. And then they dry out, and it's just a dried out starfish and a sponge. And that tear, and then it cuts back to the pirates watching the movie, and they're crying, like, oh, that was the end of our heroes. And the parents, shut up and watch the movie. And that's when, oh, yeah. And the tear ends up trailing down the wire of the heat lamp to the electrical outlet, shorts it out, causing the smoke alarm to go off. And suddenly Patrick and SpongeBob are back and saved.
They're back in business.
Yes. So they go after the crown, but to their detriment, they have the Cyclops there.
Old Cyclops
the
is
submariner.
back.
But then all the other fish and sea creatures come back to life because now they are watered. They are hydrated.
Yep.
And they want revenge.
Did you get, does any movie come to mind here?
I'm assuming there was a lot of stuff involved. as far as the reference, but I can't think of one particular.
I get like Toy Story vibes.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you were to put Sid, Sid was the Cyclops.
Yes, Sid was the Cyclops,
yeah.
and all the toys come after him.
Yeah.
That reminded me of that.
It felt like a little tip of the
little nod.
Cyclops hat.
And so at that point, they are running, and they're like, all right, we got this bag of wind. Patrick, here's how we're supposed to do it. We need you to aim it away from Bikini Bottom. We need to ground our feet, and then we need to take off the rope. And Patrick just kind of does not pay attention, ends up having it to the side, and the bag of wind just blows off without them.
And Ty, that's how the movie ends. And they never get back.
No.
Except... it's not how the movie ends.
No, it's not.
Because
guess who comes running up?
Who comes running up?
David Hasselhoff.
Hasselhoff in Bikini Bottom, not crusty bottom. That's where he is.
As himself, running in the whole like Baywatch pose.
Yeah, here for it.
And he goes, hey, I'm going to take you there. He goes, where's your boat? I don't need a boat.
Of course he doesn't. It's
Because
David
he
Hasselhoff.
becomes the boat. Now, funny story, they literally built like a 14-foot replica of David Hasselhoff to make that boat.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So they literally had to make a boat because they wanted enough room so they can move the camera to get the right angles. So they made a David Hasselhoff boat to film.
Okay, that is interesting. But also, where does this live? This boat?
Ooh, that's a good question. I should look that up.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to look it up right now. If
But
you
I
want
want
to.
to.
But he wants to.
But you can
And he's
tell
going
us what's
to.
going on while I'm checking this out.
Well, he shows up and he's offering this ride back to Bikini Bottom because, listen, we don't all know how to get to Bikini Bottom, but David Hasselhoff knows how to get anywhere. And they hop on his back and he dives in like a fucking sea urchin, dolphin. A dolphin, probably. I don't know. Ty is not correcting me. He's like, so when Ty's not here, I'm allowed to say whatever I want. And that's kind of fun. So he dives in like a goddamn dolphin and he's spinning around with his propeller dick.
Yeah, with this propeller deck.
Honestly, though, like I think he was because his limbs aren't moving, Ty.
It's not. It's literally, they were able to like superimpose his face for reaction and stuff like that. But no, like literally they built this boat and the face looks super lifelike. It does. I'm looking at it right now. They auctioned it off for like $100,000.
That's it?
For $100,000?
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know why I'm like, that's it. That's a lot of money. But
it was estimated to sell for the amount of $750,000 to $1.5 million. The minimum bid was $100,000. It doesn't say what it was sold for.
Tell you what, next episode, let's reveal whatever that is. Well, we can do cliffhangers. You know what I mean?
For sure. We can also have backtracks.
Yeah. I do find that super interesting, though, because I do want to see this boat.
Yes. Like, I'm looking at it, and it's not even a boat.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll get back to it. We'll come back to that. But as they get through there, turns out Dennis is still alive. He pulls himself. He's speedboating over through the mariner's boat, or Marino's shoe as a boat, and it gets there as, I'm fucking going to kill you now. And
He says that.
Yes. And as he's trying to step on them, he ends up getting hit as David Hasselhoff goes under another boat and he gets knocked off. It's like, see you later, boys. And he gets hit. And Patrick's like, see you later, man.
Yeah. See, again, Ernest. Yeah.
Ernest.
So this whole time, David Hasselhoff is just seriously just like very laterally moving through this ocean.
Right.
And I think SpongeBob and Patrick are at his foot now. I don't even know where they're at. They stab his ass at one point.
Yeah, and he goes, ooh, that's uncomfortable.
He was like, easy back there, boys. This was my favorite sequence of the whole movie.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So at that point, he finally gets into Bikini Bottom, or at least to the area. But they're like, we can't float down fast enough. He goes, who said anything about floating? And he ends up like just machine go and just becoming vertical. His pecs end up separating. So he puts them in there and titty launches them down. Now, during this time, you have Plankton sitting at the Krusty Krab is like, today's the day you're going to burn. What was the date of that?
Sweet, man. It was your birthday.
It was March 14th.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's March 14th.
It was actually kind of nice because I didn't get to watch all of it before today. We got to kind of start around that time.
Right.
And I remember watching it and I looked over at you and I was like, oh,
sweet man.
He's saying that this is a bad day. And I'm like, it's not a, you know not what you say, Plankton. And then Plankton became a even worse supervillain for me.
Yeah, because at that point, you have King Neptune trying to strike Mr. Krabs down, who's frozen. He's been frozen this entire time. And that's how Plankton, we actually have skipped a whole B story. Plankton, at that time, when Mr. Krabs was frozen, steals the recipe, starts selling the Krusty Krab burger, and gives everyone a chum bucket to wear as a hat. Turns out that is just a way for him to control it because now it's like stuck on their head and it's just this whole loop of they're now building this entire city. Entire town of Bikini Bottom has become Plankton.
Planktopia?
Planktopolis,
yeah.
So at that point, he's like, I have the whole town. I am winning in business. My nemesis is no longer even in play. And I get to watch him be destroyed by King Neptune.
That's right. It's not all that important. We didn't skip anything important.
Fair enough. So at that point... We did. Because we also skipped how like Squidward finds out, it's like, you stole the recipe. And then he gets captured because he's like, well, I'm actually controlling everyone. So get Squidward.
And you know what also? We skipped the most important part of the movie.
Oh, which one?
Sandy. Who was given nothing in the whole movie.
Apparently, she originally had a B-side story that she was going to be involved in, and she was going to be the one that rocket launches him down. But then they scrapped that and put in David Hasselhoff, which I think was a better choice, in all honesty.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Because she was a pretty main character in the show.
She was, and I think she ends up popping up at the end, but it was like she went to go visit Texas for something, and originally it was like, hey, she's running for the law there.
Yeah, she may have had like 2 lines of dialogue in the whole movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But then SpongeBob and Patrick are again titty launched down.
Yep.
And as King Neptune is trying to destroy Mr. Krabs, he fires a firebolt, which then gets bounced back up because it hits the crown and ends up frying David Hasselhoff.
We all know that the crown will always bounce off firebolts.
Yes,
it's just
it's that
science.
shiny and reflective.
Yep, that's how it works.
I mean, if you played Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, you knew about the mirror shield.
Oh, you mean Ocarina of Time?
No, it was literally...
Ocarina of Time.
Are you sure?
I will die on this hill.
No, it's both.
And I will
because
bring you
both
with
of them
me.
have... Because one of them, there's like a face on the shield, but the other one's just an actual mirror shield.
Yeah, but that's also like saying Saw 2 was the first time someone died.
Disagree, but fine. Ocarina of Time, we'll go there. That's fine.
Because it's true.
You're right. I will concede. I will validate you because I love you.
You can validate me, but you can also tell me I'm right.
You're right. So at that point, the king has his crown again. Oh, the day is saved. And Plankton's like, congratulations. And when the bad guy's not concerned, oh no.
I am. When the bad guy's not concerned, we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at that point, he puts a chum bucket on the king's head and takes control of him. And he is about to fry SpongeBob, the Princess, and Patrick. And at that point, SpongeBob is like, everyone keeps viewing us as kids. But that's all right. Because as kids, we have gone through all this shit no one believed we could. And we got through it.
And what we get here, too, is a series of SpongeBob talking, Plankton going, yeah, okay, cool, I hear it, I hear you.
All right, now die.
Let me get... And then SpongeBob keeps going.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, cool, whatever. Did you feel like this was the opposite of a villain speech?
Yeah.
Right? Because we have a ton of that.
We do. We have a lot of villain speech from Plankton.
Well, I mean, just in general.
In
like,
general, too.
You know, the ultimate villain speech. Like, that always happens. This kind of felt like the hero speech. Which, does that... I mean,
That's a
that
thing.
exists. Yeah, of course it is.
That's the thing.
But in the same vein of a villain speech, where it's like the thing that actually should be... It helps the other characters take up time.
Right.
Or, I don't know if I'm saying that
The stall.
properly. The stall. But it was, like, very genuine.
It was very genuine. It was like, no one believed we could do this, but we still did it.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, his last battle cry ends up being a rock version of the Goofy Goober song.
Yeah.
And he literally becomes a wizard of rock.
Exactly that.
And through the power of the Wizard of Rock, he's able to free all of the people. He's even able to free King Neptune. He's able to free
Neptune.
He's able to free King Neptune. And at that point, they save the day, and he ends up Plankton ends up getting stepped on, just squashed. And that was actually another thing I want to do, because SpongeBob actually stepped on Plankton at the very beginning of the movie as he's walking to the commencement speech. And literally, as he's grinding him against... Like, I literally thought Plankton was about to die there. I was like, holy shit, he just murdered a guy.
Yeah, you're apparently invincible in Krusty Bottom.
Yes.
Bikini Bottom.
Yes. No, it's Krusty Bottom. I want to go with that.
We're going with that. Yeah. Yeah, that was violent. That was, yeah. His mouth and face was still there.
Yeah, somehow.
We never saw if the gas station boys got their lips back.
No, we didn't.
That is a sentence no one has ever said.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that attention, because they still deserve justice.
Justice for gas station lip boys. Mm-hmm. I guess. I honestly, they talked a lot.
They bite us some shit. It was kind of on them.
Yeah, you know, I don't need them to have their mouths back.
But King Neptune has his crown. He's trying to unfreeze Mr. Krabs, but apparently it's set on the real boy setting. Turns Mr. Krabs to a real boy, and then back into Mr. Krabs. And
I appreciated that.
SpongeBob is given the manager position. And at that point, we think that's the end of the movie.
But
It's not. At that point, we get back to the movie theater. And
well, hold on. He is about to go into the speech. SpongeBob.
Well, he said, yeah, he starts a speech where it's like,
it starts off. He's like, you know what? I'm not gonna take this. He doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Squidward jumps in.
he goes, you just
I know what you're
learned
gonna
that
say.
everything you wanted was inside
Inside
you all along.
And then SpongeBob's fun backhanded. He's like, no, I was gonna tell you your fly was down. I want, and he takes he takes that manager.
I'm the new manager. He was all excited.
Yeah. Credits roll, and then
So the end credit scene,
pirate
which
shit.
at the time there probably wasn't a lot of end credit scenes. This wasn't a Marvel thing. This was
Yeah.
pre-Marvel. And
right, we were talking about that. Like,
Right.
When's the first time you remember having to? Let me rephrase this. When's the first time you thought, like, hey, I'm going to stick around for the credits because what if there's something at the end?
It was only because it was the Iron Man movie, and I had learned ahead of time that you need to watch. So that was really... So 2008.
That was 2008, yeah.
This was 4 years prior.
Right.
In which case, we get the Pirates at the movie theater.
And we're not suggesting that Marvel was the first movie to do it, but
that's when
it became
conscious.
consistent.
Yes.
Right.
So at that point, we had the Pirates in the movie theater, and they're all like, yay! And then we have the custodian of the movie theater like, y'all need to leave. You want to say that to my face? She gets in his face. You need to leave. And then they leave. And that's the end.
Yeah. Which was kind of funny because it's like, no, like if you're in the theater still watching this, it's like, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go. They want to go home.
I want to go home.
Much like the guy who overserved SpongeBob early on with the ice cream beer.
Right. I just want to go home.
Like, come on, man. Like, I'm trying. Help me, help you, help me.
I enjoyed this movie far more than I thought it would.
Me too. Especially like we talked about, like kind of maybe a start where I was like, oh no. But it was fun. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a fun boat ride. It was a fun David Hasselhoff ride.
Oh, it's absolutely been a great David Hasselhoff ride. And I think it's time to that time, buddy.
Yeah, because we have before we do that, what do we talk about on episode 2?
Oh, so next episode we're gonna cover as Sean tries to down some of his cocktail because he realizes
I'm not.
it's that time. We're going to be covering Salute Your Shorts next. And we got a lot of cool, exciting things for this season. So just to give you a heads up, we're recording now. So we're trying to get a bunch of episodes out now, recorded now. And then I'll have to come back whenever things have calmed down with having the new baby. And we got a few great things to look forward to.
You're going to hear all these episodes come out, a week at a time.
Right.
But you're probably going to notice a shift at the time when you're like, they took off a month or two there. But we're not going to tell you when that is. Or we might on accident.
We might.
Or on purpose. A lot of fun episodes, I think, this weekend, but about 2 episodes down the line, we're going to do our next Let's Get Weird episode.
Yes. We got Count Duckula. We got Wienerville. We got a lot coming up.
Yeah, so a lot to look forward to. And still a little bit more to drink.
Yes.
My friend, it's been a fun start to season 3 with you.
I'm so glad to be back. I missed you, and I missed this. And listeners, I missed you, in all honesty. So thank you for coming back to the party. And there's only one thing left to do, but to say bottoms up.
Bottoms up. Oh, how many blueberries were on your bottom?
I think I had 5. Oh. But that jam just really is a nice touch, man. That was nice. Dude, how much did you have? You didn't even finish your side piece. Drink up, bitch.
Because I finished this blueberry!